Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Dejana, and today it's time for another foundation battle. I love making these videos if two foundations are very similar in their claims, or if somebody else says that these are dupes, or if I have like two favorites that are very close to each other that I want to battle out next to each other to really see how similar they are or not and which one is better. So today we're gonna battle out a classic, the Estée Lauder Double Wear, and its contendant is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation, the matte version. The first time I tried Estée Lauder Double Wear was in my very first foundation battle. It was in 2017, and it is by far my most viewed video ever, and I've loved it ever since. But since discovering the Wet n Wild one, which I think I discovered in 2018 or 19, I've actually used this one more. So it's up to this video or this battle to see which one of these is going to be the winner at the end. I'm really excited about this one. And of course, I have one on each side of my face right now, but I won't tell you which one is on which side. You will have to wait like a couple of minutes before you find out. Anyways, let's jump into this and see which one of these will win this battle. The reason why I find these so similar is both because they both claim to be matte and full coverage. This one claims to be buildable coverage, this one to be medium to full, so buildable, and they are both super long wearing. They both have 30 milliliters of product or 1 fluid ounce, but the biggest difference is the price. So the Wet n Wild one is around $7 US, and this one is around $43 US. So it's like 8 times as much as the Wet n Wild one. One area where the Estée Lauder one has a little bit of an upper hand though is the shade range. So this one comes in about 60 different shades, and this one comes in about 20 different shades, so 3 times as many. Also, the Estée Lauder has a little bit of an SPF 10. The Wet n Wild has none. The Estée Lauder claims to be waterproof. The Photo Focus doesn't, but the packaging is so much better on the Wet n Wild one. It has a little spatula so you can apply it with something. The Estée Lauder Double Wear doesn't have anything, so it's super annoying. You have to pour it out and you get too much or too little, and yeah, it's just annoying that you pay $43 for a foundation that doesn't have a pump or some type of applicator. This one at least has a spatula. Now it's time for you to find out which one is on which side and see how they apply. The lightest shade I have at home right now from the Wet n Wild one is soft beige, which is a little bit too dark for me right now, but I have different shades in the Estée Lauder one, so I'm going to try to make a mixture. The two shades I have of the Estée Lauder foundation are 1N1 Ivory Nude and 4N1 Shell Beige. So this is basically the lightest I go in the air and the darkest I go in the air. So I usually have one of each so I can mix them, but now I try to make a mixture here close enough to the Wet n Wild foundation, of course, so that I somewhat match the halves of my face. The Estée Lauder mixture is a little bit more like yellow / olive maybe, and this one up here from Wet n Wild is a little bit more peachy. But I'm going to take my mixture and spread it out on this side, the Estée Lauder one. And the most annoying thing I find with this foundation is it doesn't have any kind of applicator, so it's really annoying to have to pour it out on your hand or your sponge or whatever. It sounds like such a, I don't know, non-issue, but I feel like when you're paying that much for a foundation, stuff like that, like convenience, should be counted in. And I'm just blending that out with my Real Techniques beauty sponge on this side of my face. So this is what one layer looks like of the Estée Lauder Double Wear compared to nothing. So now I'm just going to wash the sponge, so I use the same sponge, and I'm going to apply one layer of the Wet n Wild foundation on this side. It's hard to know if I'm applying as much on both sides just because this one has an applicator and the other one doesn't, but I'm trying my best to be as like objective as possible and like be as fair as possible. This is what both foundations look like with one layer applied on each side. So I feel like this side has a little bit more coverage, the Estee Lauder one. It could be maybe I applied a little more, I don't know, because the applicator versus not an applicator. The finish of both of these foundations is just so good. I love the look of them and how they kind of blur your skin, and I love the high coverage, but I'm going to apply a little bit more on this side and a little bit more on this side just to see how both foundations build and what happens to the coverage when I do so. So this is what the foundations are looking like built up on my face without any primer underneath and without any product on top. As you can see, both of them are full coverage and I think they look great. I feel like this one is a little bit more dewy than the Wet n Wild one. Like this is a little bit more hardcore matte than this side. But I'm going to apply all my other products, like my favorite products, concealer, powder, everything on top, just to see how everything blends on top of these foundations and if I can see a difference. The Estee Lauder foundation claims to be waterproof and the Wet n Wild doesn't have such claims. So if that's important to you, I just want to mention it. But that also means that the Estee Lauder foundation is a bitch to take off. You can notice it just like while you're washing the sponge in between these foundations, that the Estee Lauder one sticks so much more, and you can actually feel that a little bit on your face. The Estee Lauder foundation claims to be quite non-detectable, which I don't really agree with. I can feel this side more on my face than this foundation. It's not like unbearable to me. I know some people don't like it at all, but to me it's fine. It's just I can feel like a little film on top on the Estee Lauder side, which I don't feel on the Wet n Wild side. Whoa! You scared the shit out of me. I want to ask you after you pee. Okay. I'm going to ask my boyfriend which side he thinks looks better. He's not a makeup lover at all. I just want his like honest first impression opinion on what my face looks like before I apply the rest of my makeup. Okay, so you're going to be a judge now. One side of my face costs $7 and one side of my face costs $43. Which side do you think looks better? Without knowing which one is which, of course.
The right side?
You think this side looks better? Do you have any professional opinion on why you think it looks better?
It's lighter and a bit more matte.
Matte, not mate. You're my mate.
Yeah, mate!
I will ask you again when I apply the rest of my makeup. Interesting. He finds this side prettier. He can't really explain why, but he likes it more. Now I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup, concealer, powder, bronzer, everything, and I will be right back. So this is what the makeup is looking like now when I have applied powders on top and all my other makeup. And once again, I have my unbiased professional foundation reviewer behind the camera. Do you still think the same side looks better, or the other one, or the same?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
You're not sure?
No. They look kind of the same.
The same?
Yeah.
Okay, so just for your information, before you thought this side looked better and now you think it's the same shit, this side is actually the cheaper one. So this foundation costs $7 and this one costs $43.
I would go for the $7.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, if they look so similar, which I think as well, this is why I'm doing this foundation battle, because I find these foundations so similar, then why would you pay $43 when you can pay $7 and get the same look and also like with an applicator? Because the expensive one doesn't even have an applicator. You have to pour it out from the bottle, while this one has like a spatula that you can... Yeah, thank you. There are minor details that I like more on this side and minor details I like more on this side. So the Wet n Wild foundation I find a little bit more like smoothing. It goes over my pores much nicer and like, yeah, just a little bit smoother. While this side, I feel like the blush and stuff go on more pigmented. And I think it has to do with the fact that this foundation is a little bit more like sticky sticky, and this one is a little bit more matte. So of course this is going to stick better because I only powder the center of my face and not the sides. It's more intense on this side, which I think you can see on camera, but with that in mind, I feel like you can see more makeup on this side. Like this looks more natural and also, like, as I said, more blurred, which I really do like. I will zoom you in just so you can see my face up close. So here is the Estée Lauder side, and here is the Wet n Wild side. I'm really interested to know which one you prefer, so comment down below. Now I will just go about my evening and then I will get back to you with an update in a few hours. I'm back and it's been about 7 hours, I think, since I applied the foundations, and this is what they are looking like. I'm super tired and I'm in my pajamas, and now you can see the obvious bad shade matching. It was important for me that both sides match to each other. Don't mind the rest of the body. I'm going to turn the brightness down a little bit and zoom you in just so you can see more texture on my skin, because in these lights and far away it looks super smooth, and it is quite smooth, but I have texture on my skin, so I want you to see the difference on both sides up close. So I hope you can see the colors and the texture a little bit better now. But this is the Wet n Wild side after about 7-ish hours. And this is the Estée Lauder side after 7-ish hours. As you can see, both foundations look really good after the amount of hours I've had them on, and also they are super long wearing, so I did not expect anything else. But there are some areas that have changed or that I have opinions on. On this side, I feel like all the other makeup on top has held up a little bit better. As I said when I applied it, it feels more intense on this side, which of course has to do with the base that's underneath. So if you want all your other makeup to last longer and to be more intense, then this side did win over this one. On the other hand, I feel like the Wet n Wild side has kept itself matte throughout this whole time. So if you look around my nose, for example, which is the part of my face that gets the oiliest, then here in the nose wing, it's more shiny on the Estée Lauder side than it is on the Wet n Wild side. I hope you can tell on camera. Like, it's not a major difference, but I can definitely tell in real life that this side is shinier. Also, the Estée Lauder finish was a little bit more dewy than the Wet n Wild side, even when I had just applied the makeup, but because it has still kept and gotten a little bit more dewy, then you can see texture a little bit more on this side than on this side. So it all depends on what you're after, I feel like. I just feel like for 8 times the amount of money that it isn't worth it. I do really love the Estée Lauder double wear, but now when I see them next to each other, I feel like it isn't worth 8 times the money. But keep in mind that this one doesn't have SPF 10. It doesn't claim to be waterproof, even if you can see that it's very long wearing. And also, if you can't find a shade for yourself, then what's the point? The Estée Lauder double wear goes a lot darker and also a lot lighter. But if you can find your shade amongst the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundations, then I don't see the point in buying the Estée Lauder one. 8 times more expensive, doesn't have an applicator of any sort. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts in the comments though. Maybe you think that this side looks 8 times better than this one and therefore is worth the price. So please let me know. I'm always interested to hear your guys' opinions. Worth noting though is that the Photo Focus now comes in a dewy version, and it's also super long wearing, has full coverage, and everything is the same, it's just dewier. So maybe that is more similar to this one now when I think of it. They both claim to be matte, but this one has a little bit more dew. So yeah, if you like the look of the dewiness, then maybe try the Wet n Wild dewy version first. But that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment down below which foundations you want to see in the next battle. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!